Hello! Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Grace Mickey and I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Becoming Cooler in Your 20s. So for those of you who don't know, my channel is divided into two parts: vlogs and other fun videos, and Becoming Cooler in Your 20s podcast. Since this is a Becoming Cooler in Your 20s podcast, that means that you can find this audio also on Spotify and all of your other listening platforms. If you would rather do this on Hot Girl Walk, I encourage it. I am an aspiring YouTuber, I am post-grad and 23 years old, and you know, it kind of feels like there's a lot going on in life right now. And I'm here to relate to if you are going through the same thing of feeling a little bit overwhelmed by too many possibilities and no way of reaching them. Lastly, I have also started an Instagram page for this channel, so if you would like to check it out, it is Grace Mickey with 2 E's at the end of my last name, and I'll be uploading a ton of content there that really matches the vibe of this page, as well as my reels. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. So welcome to part 1 of a 4-part New Year's series. I love New Year's. It's my favorite time of year. I am someone who likes to set goals, make lists, plan. If I could plan for the rest of my life, if that could be my job, maybe it could be my job. Pin in that. Anyway, New Year's is just so much about like personal development, figuring out what you want to do, and I feel like that is where I thrive. And this year, for the very first time in 2024, I actually accomplished the goals that I set out for myself. Not every single one, but a lot of them. So I want to guide you through the process of how that worked, because I know that I have set goals in the past, New Year's resolutions, every year of my life, and never until 2024 did I stick to them. So if you want to encapsulate this energy that you've been dreaming about before going to bed like I do, then you should tune in for this series, because it will teach you everything that you need to know and everything that I did last year to bring me to where my goals are today. So, welcome to episode 1 of the New Year's Bootcamp, Reflection. Listen, I know that reflection can be tricky, and I know it's kind of like, you don't really want to do it because New Year's is exciting and you want to plan forward. But my favorite quote on the reason why reflection is so important is that you cannot give someone directions if you don't know where they're starting. You know, you can't say, oh, to get to me, turn right, turn left, if you have no idea where they're at. And you can't make your goals if you don't know where you're at. Step number 1 is the worst one. It's to get honest with yourself. Reflection is uncomfortable because usually what we need to work on is what we neglect or what gives us anxiety, and it's stuff that you don't really want to face. But in order to improve it, you do need to know where you are at. So for this example, I'm going to use finance. So when I was graduating last year, I was kind of a really broke student. Like, I had just finished up 4 years of university, and I just never wanted to like do a deep dive in my bank accounts. I never wanted to go through everything that I spent my credit card on. Like, I just wanted to pay it off. I was uncomfortable by finance. But in order to get better, and it is better now, I had to actually understand what was going on. And that was really anxiety inducing. And I understand how that can be anxiety inducing because I've been there myself. But whatever your goal is that you want to change, get really, really honest with yourself about where you are now. Step number 2 is to celebrate your wins from this year. Find out what went well, because we can get really honest with ourselves like we did in the last step and find the things that didn't go so well. But the reality is that something in your life went well this year, like something was accomplished. Find out what that is and give yourself a little credit for it. I find that at the end of the year, I tend to think of all the things that I didn't do. You know, I didn't hit that financial goal. I didn't start my YouTube till November. I didn't start XYZ, blah, 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 blah. There's so many things that you can say, I didn't do that, so I didn't have a successful year. But you can also look at the good things. I ran a marathon this year, I graduated, I moved in with my boyfriend, I made a new friend. Like, there are so many things that are just easy to overlook because they were one-day events and they don't really show up in my daily life today, but they showed up in my daily life leading up to that. Find every single little win and figure out what went right. Why did you accomplish that? Was it an accumulation of daily little tasks? Was it one major push at the end? Like, what works for you? What makes your wins happen? Recognizing these wins are also going to be huge in building your confidence going into this new year, because the reality of goals is if you don't think that you can do it, you can't. But if you have proved to yourself in the past that you can do hard things, you'll do hard things again. So you just have to build a little bit of confidence in that, and making a list, a physical list of everything that you accomplished will help build your confidence in order to give you a push and an understanding that you can do it for your New Year's resolutions as well. Step number 3 is to identify patterns. So once you have been honest with yourself and also focused on your wins, look at those two things and find the trends. When you accomplish something, what were you doing right? And when you didn't accomplish something, what were you not doing that you did in other cases to bring you to that goal? One major thing that I wrote down when I was doing this exercise is procrastination. I didn't start my YouTube channel until later in the year, and I said that I was gonna do it earlier in the year, and to be honest, there was no reason why I couldn't have done it. I was busy, yeah, but the reality was that when I came home at the end of the day, I just didn't want to film or edit or anything like that. I wanted to procrastinate it, and I always just kind of moved it in my calendar. I was like, it can wait, it can wait, it can wait. Well, I would have many more subscribers and I'd be a lot further in my YouTube journey if I just hadn't pushed it off. Whereas when I look at running the marathon, when I made my schedule to work out for the week, I followed it, I stuck to it. I was like, oh, that's where it was scheduled, that's where I'm doing it. So I know that with YouTube, if I want to make this work, I need to do the same thing and put it in my schedule and not procrastinate those tasks because it's in my schedule. I treated marathon training like a job, and I need to treat this like a job too. Step number 4 is to identify your values for this year. I have a friend and he always sets a word of the year. So if you were to look back on 2024, what would the words have been? I think for me, my words would have been running, romance, friendship, events. I had my sister's wedding and I took some kids to Japan for a leadership program and all that, so maybe like big events. Strava. There's a lot of words that I could give to 2024. At the end of 2025, what do I want my words to have been? I want running to be there again, so let's bring that over. So make sure that you know what you want your words to be and make sure that they align with your values, because that's really, really going to help you look at that list of goals that you have for 2025 and say, do my goals actually align with my values as a person this year? And again, going back to step 1, be honest with yourself if they don't. I think the most important part of goal setting and goal setting that is going to be accomplished is that you need to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. And I don't even mean like the goal needs to be realistic. If you want to go from 0 YouTube subscribers to 100,000 next year, I believe in you. Go get it, girl. I want to do that. But that's not what I mean. If YouTube doesn't align with you, if YouTube makes you, like, if that's not something that you want to do and it doesn't align with your values, then that's not a good goal for you, because you're not going to work hard towards something that doesn't align with you as a person. So pick those words, reflect on the goals that you have, and make sure that those two things actually go together. Step number 5 is I want you to write 2 letters. Now, the first one is more of a reflection letter, and the second one is more of a forward thinking into the next, this is kind of a segue into the next part of this series. I want you to write a letter to yourself in the past and a letter to yourself in the future. When you're writing the letter to yourself in the past, think of you at the end of 2023 and what you were setting goals for this year and report back to her on how those went. So if I was writing myself a letter, I would say, hey, I'm so happy to report that we graduated and we ran that marathon, but we didn't really start a YouTube channel and we didn't really figure out what we're doing with our lives. Just kind of give an update. Like if that letter was going to be sent, like give an update and think, if you had received this letter, what would you do about it? If you could change things, would you change things? And how would you change things? Then I want you to write a letter to yourself at the end of 2024 and say, here's what I hope you did. And when I wrote a letter to my past self, this is what I said that I was going to change. And I changed it, manifest it, write it in the present tense. Tell yourself that you did well. Tell yourself that you accomplished these goals. Make sure that you believe that you can do this. And you're more like telling your 2024 self, like, yeah, this is what I did this year. When you open that next year, you're going to be like, oh my God, I did do all of this. I totally manifested this. So write with confidence, write with purpose and intention. I love writing myself letters to the future and I love opening them because, I don't know, they're like, I find that our lives change more year to year than we give them credit for. Don't be mean to yourself in the letters. That is not the point of the letters. The point of the letters is to reflect and to manifest. Those are the two different types of things that I think that you should do, and something that I did for myself last year that helped me accomplish these goals. So to review, the 5 steps are: 1, to get honest with yourself, know where you're at. 2, to celebrate your wins. Do not discredit all of the work that you have done this year. 3, identify the patterns in your win column and the goals that have been pushed to this year. Number 4, check in with your values and make sure that you have a really crystal clear idea of what you want for this year in terms of values and words of the year. And step number 5 is to write 2 letters, 1 to your past self and 1 to your future self. Make sure that you are being kind to yourself, using reflection, using manifestation, and that is step 1. Another thing that I would just like to sprinkle in there is there are so many good journal prompts. This could be like kind of a bonus step number 6. There's so many good journal prompts for reflection. You can find them on Pinterest, you can find them on other YouTubers' videos, and answering those are just gonna get you so crystal clear. I just think it's so important to be so crystal clear on where you are at and what you want for the new year. That is it. That is all for part 1 of the New Year's Bootcamp on Becoming Cooler in Your 20s podcast. This was reflection and I can't wait for tomorrow. I am gonna post part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and bringing it all together on these next 5 consecutive days so that you feel ready when January 1st rolls around. So please follow along. And I thank you so much for joining me. It would help me so much if you liked and subscribed. Also, if you're still here at the end of this video, comment this emoji. I see other YouTubers doing this and I want to do this too. So please comment that down below if you're still here. Thank you so much. I love you so much and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.